next one from two extraordinary ladies from Viseven, Maryna and Anna, and with a very great title, Why Modular Content is a Big Deal. Still, a bold one on still. So, Maryna and Anna, the stage is all yours, and I will reconnect at the end to take over some questions.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all here. Thanks for joining to our topic. This is really the high importance topic nowadays because we are gonna share with you the number of challenges and the open questions that we've been faced with during a couple of proof of concepts and a number of pilot projects within the 2022, the latest year, at the Viseven side with a number of clients here. So we'll be glad to share the lessons learned with all of you in order to improve our lives and for the own processes even more. So my name is Maryna Alekseichuk. I'm the head of strategic accounts, and I'm glad to share this floor with my colleague.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Malivska. I'm area product owner in the company and responsible for modular approach specifically. So today we're going to talk about the challenges and the outcomes we have learned from the project. So I suggest we go straight to it. So
exactly. So let us imagine the situation that we already in the kind of a proof of concept, the modular proof of concept, we are almost ready to start because the technical infrastructure is already configured, or the whole ecosystem is synchronized and integrated into each other. So the all of the workflows has been verified, and we come to the moment when we are to deal with the content modularization. Yeah, this very meat that we were waiting for. And here is the moment when the brands are stuck with the content prioritization. They aren't sure what brand is worth being the first, what materials are the readiest to be modularized. And the biggest question is how actually we are to start, who should start, what are the tooling, and what are the first steps within the modularization. So Anna, let us now outline the first steps the clients are to take to their modular journey start.
Yes, thank you very much, Maryna. So having worked with multiple clients on the modular projects, when we try to help clients to embark on the journey where they adopt this modular approach, we identified two main approaches that the companies can take in order to start their journey and actually go to the place where they can enjoy the benefits of the modular approach. Both approaches have their pros and cons, and I'm going to outline the main challenges and benefits of each. So the first approach is fast and easy. That would include the modularization of existing content. So basically harvesting the content that is already available in the company and trying to cut out the content pieces that can become content modules. In such approach, the benefit is that the approach does not have to change much and the companies can adopt this approach very easily and fast. But the drawback of this is that as a result of this exercise, the companies test the technology, the approach that can be achieved with the help of the technology, the platform, but the teams lose the feeling that this is actually a new approach. It's not just a new tool that they're using. And as a result, they still face the need to modularize the content that is already existing, that they don't know what is the change, what's the change management that they need to go through in order to adopt the new approach. So as an alternative to that, we offer our clients a different approach where the companies go through the imitation of the actual planning exercise, where they cut out the key messages from the topics, from the brand products that they want to deliver to the clients, outline the key messages, the claims, then they try to visualize and prove the key messages with the help of the content so that it can be adapted to different channels and different content items. As a result, their content structure looks like this. There is some product that they select for a specific exercise for this modularization. Each of the products has a number of key messages, a number of claims that they have identified that they would want to deliver to their clients, and a number of content modules that prove that key message. And the content module can be used in multiple channel-specific content items. As a result, the teams achieve the understanding of what the project, what the process is like, what is the new approach, and what they need to do in order to receive these better results while working in the modular approach.
Okay, agree. When making the step back toward this first approach, when you were mentioning the harvesting of the existing materials, trying to cut out something that might look like or become in the future a module, agree, and the outcomes of the pilots proves that this approach is much more easy and faster to be realized. So if I may say so, this is kind of a quick and dirty manner of trying out the tech infrastructure environment and try on the end-to-end process, yeah? But
yes, that's the right
still move on.
Yes, that's the right definition. That's the way we see it.
Yeah, but when still being within this harvesting exercise, as you properly mentioned, the end users and the marketeers are losing this path and the idea of the real impact of the modular approach, the senses that might be reused further on across, yeah? And this is, here we have the question, how should we separate the sense from a design, yeah, from a form of the module? As soon as when the users are creating content, they are still continue thinking about the visuals and how will it look like in the final asset, because they are cutting out them out of the assets, yeah, that they have used to. So the senses of modular is erased when it comes to the moment when the look of the module comes again to the first place.
Yes, it is a very valid point, Maryna. Thank you very much for bringing it up. And indeed, this is one of the biggest challenges we are facing with our customers right now. And we see that one of the main challenges of the new approach is the shift of thinking that all the company and all stakeholders involved in the process have to go through in order to understand that the content in the first place is the sense, is the idea that they're trying to deliver, and the form, the design that it will acquire in the final form, in the final channel asset, is secondary to the meaning and the idea they're trying to deliver. So from our understanding, one of the major prerequisites to the rollout of the modular approach is the standardization and the modularization of content on terms of simplification of designs of channel-specific templates in order to suit the needs of the channel-agnostic approach. What it means basically is that each of the channel-specific templates has to be prepared to meet the requirements of this channel-agnostic approach, basically giving the understanding for the end users what their content is going to look like when the content module is fetched, is added to each of the templates. As we can see in this example, we see the different layouts for the same visualization, for the same content module that can be applied to the IVA template, to the landing page, to the email. But as a result, this is the same idea, the same content, and the visual part of it, design, is still compliant with the branded guidelines, with the requirements of the brand and the corporation, so that the final outcome of the content meets the requirements and does not require much involvement from the user who is creating the content item, because the templates are there, they're compliant, they meet the requirements, and the content module that is created outside the branded guidelines still meets the requirements. So that's one of the biggest challenges and the biggest changes that happen in the modular approach and the adoption of the modular concept in the companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very great idea. I mean, to start from the templatization first, then coming closer to the modules, because as soon as at least one of the part of the sense of the module, the form, is ready, you're more free for the run to move on to the senses, to these higher levels and higher understanding of all of this approach in general.
Absolutely.
And here we've been faced with another observation when we started working and introducing the kind of the modular approach or the outcomes of the templatization, suggesting the specific forming and the layouts within the specific different channel-specific templates. We got pretty many of the adjustments required to be populated on the level of the templates in the end. when the brands or those brands who didn't involve the creative trusted partners from the very beginning, even before stepping into the specific modularization of the specific content piece, the templates were requested to be adjusted later on still. And not only the templates, but the general look of the content that has been already modularized in the end. So let us touch a little bit in details this question: what is actually the best time to involve the agencies to the modular process?
From my experience, I would say the sooner the better. Indeed, the change that would be required by the modular concept is universal, and it will influence all stakeholders involved. And the creative agency and the agency that is responsible for the ideation and creation of content is the core point of the process. And from our experience, it is necessary to engage the trusted partners, creative agencies into the project from the very beginning, so that they can adopt the process from the very beginning of the content creation. From our experience, the 0 point to creating modular content is the ideation of the content module itself. So at this point, we're not even talking about the form, we're not talking about the systems. At this point, it is essential to identify the topics that are going to be delivered to the clients, who are the clients that we're going to talk to, and all other important points that people need to keep in mind while thinking about content creation. So as a result of the exercise, when creative agencies and agencies in general, they start thinking about the modular content, they would have something like this, where they see all the information about their target audience, about the topics they're going to cover, so that they can think about the key messages and how they would want to deliver them to the target audience, and combine them with the reference documents, with the visualization they would want to add to that, and combine it in one document or one place where they can see what the content module is going to be about, what it's going to look like in general from the sense perspective. So when such generic idea of the content is coupled with this templates of the layouts that suit the requirements of the channels, the result is going to have this final look of the same idea, same content applied to different channels, but still meeting the guidelines, the requirements for the brand, for the style designs, so that the idea that is identified in the beginning can be delivered to the end users and to target audience in the look and feel that would be compliant with the guidelines and aesthetically correct.
Wouldn't be my statement relevant, like when I say that this initiation of the project based upon the modular should be the kickoff for further co-creation, very closely collaborative co-creation between the brand managers, marketeers, and their trusted creative partners as well so far. Even when we are talking about the standardization of these creative guidelines or digitalization of the guidelines based upon any specific soft.
Yes, absolutely. It is important to engage users from all stakeholders into the process of ideation, and to make sure that all the changes that apply in the processes and technology influence all stakeholders across all teams. And also, it is important to have the tool, the technical enablement for the teams to collaborate and work in the same workspace, so that all changes, all the updates in the guidelines, in the approach, they apply to all stakeholders. And including the creative agencies, the brand managers, and developmental agencies as well.
Okay, good point. So that was clear with the creative agencies. We are to involve them as soon as possible, because they are keeping in their hands not only the designs, but really the senses, and the deep understanding of their brands and needs. When it comes to the moment when the developmental agencies are to be onboarded to a new way of content production, what would be our outcomes and recommendations here for the creative? How does it happen?
Yeah, so this is a very valid point. Developmental agencies do have a lot of impact on the process in general and on the entire approach of when it comes to content creation. It is important to engage developmental agencies into the process from the very beginning, so that they adopt these changes too and they know what's going to change. But since modular approach also leads to the standardization of content, it is essential to apply the same standards for the creation of content across brands, across markets, even on the technical side, on the technical level. In our understanding, it would be recommended to use the same coding style, the same standard for the development of the templates, and using the same framework for all content items, all content, all channels across different markets, so that usage and reuse of the same content items across brands and markets would not require extra coding and would be easily localizable, easily reusable on multiple levels. So involving developmental agencies at this stage is essential. It's also important to keep in mind the silo that might exist in the technology that is used behind the content, so that in order to avoid the discrepancies in coding and templates and so on. So, and of course, it is important to have technical enablement for that, some sort of a tool software that would allow content creators, development agencies, creative agencies to work in the same environment for better collaboration and communication.
Mm-hmm. Clear. So brands, brand managers, marketeers, the agencies, the pretty many of third parties are under the impact of the changes as soon as the modular approach or modular projects is knocking into their doors, so to say. Yeah. So it seems that the modular rollout requires really qualitative change management on all of the levels and for all of the roles. And definitely when we come to the benefits of the modular, we cannot but mention the MLR representatives. MLR, as everybody knows, is a highly regulated process and environment where they are in. It is not easy to implement any of the changes or any new processes to the highly regulated environments. And here, when we are talking about the decoupling of the content into the smaller granular pieces like modules, we really enlarge the amount of the items that are to be approved by the representatives of the LMR. So where exactly do we see the optimization for the MLR within the modular approach?
It is a very good question. We get it all the time, Maryna. Of course, yes, MLR is a highly regulated and very lengthy process that requires engagement from multiple teams. So it is very hard to apply any change into this stream. But from our understanding, our experience, modular approach does help optimize the process multiple ways. So first of all, the new approach increases the reuse and repurpose of content that is decoupled and broken down into smaller pieces, so that people from different markets and different teams can reuse it for in their content. So that means that once the content item is created and approved, it does not need to be reapproved again, which reduces the time and the amount of items that would need to be approved initially by the MLR reviewers. Of course, when only the project is starting, when the new approach is being rolled out in the company, it might require a little bit more engagement from the MLR team in order to approve and select, prepare that modular library with the preset of content modules that are available for reuse. But once that is done, the teams in all markets can reuse the content modules that have been pre-approved without further reapproval of the same content item. From the technical perspective, we ensure that the content that is created once does not need to go through the MLR review once again, and there is a technical enablement for that. I just wanted to demonstrate in a very short example of what it looks like. So what happens when the content creator creates a PDF with the of the content item that has content modules inside, is that the system will identify the content modules that have been used in the content item, will highlight the content module in the final PDF, will add some metadata so that the users know what the content module is about, what status of the life cycle it is, and will also allow jumping from the content item to the content module so that the MLR reviewers can literally go and look at the module if that is necessary. But the system will highlight the changes that have been added to the content module so that MLR reviewers know where exactly to look at when approving the final content piece. Also, the system will link the content item to the content modules on multiple levels as an approval document, as an object, so that the MLR reviewers can be confident that the content item that they are looking at has been pre-approved, there haven't been any changes applied there, and they do not need to review the same thing again once it has been pre-approved.
Yeah, but you are now showing the assembled, the final material, yeah, the look and feel of the email. But usually we've been faced when the MLR representatives were complaining when there were the cases to approve the standalone modules, like the same very case that you mentioned from the very beginning. There should be, or we should be ready for the first initial round of the full bench of modules to be approved as a standalone in order to create initially this very library, yeah, the global library. But how do you approve the module without look and feel? They are asking us. How can I do this? Yeah, some of the MLR are concerned and are not ready to approve something when they do not see the final result that is expected.
Yeah, I know that it's a very frequent issue that we face with our clients, and it is a very regulated area. So it might be harder to imply any changes to the MLR, but it is necessary to go through the major change management with the team in order to educate people on the new approach and provide them with the technical enablement for that, so they know what to do and they have the tool and capability to do that. And from our side, while working with the content modules and the modular content in the system, we see that the digital asset management system that stores content modules has a lot of information that helps the content MLR reviewers to grasp the idea of what module is, how it's going to be used, and even what it's going to look like in the final content item. So for example, here we see the metadata that includes all the information that would be required for the approval, like the key messages, audience, indication. It can also include the channel specifications in case the content module that is designed to be channel agnostic should be used only in specific channels. As a result of this content, the MLRs can understand what the content module is about and how it's going to be used. Also, the system will highlight the predefined element type classification for each of the content assets in the content module, so that they know what is the purpose of each of the asset in the content module. So they know that a specific piece of text, a specific image is going to be used as an icon or as a headline, for example. Also, the system will link the claims to the content module, which contain the reference documents and references for each of the claims, so that the MLR reviewers will know which reference documents are going to be used in the content module in the final content item to cite and support these specific items, pieces of text or pieces of imagery that is going to be used in the final item. And finally, there are rule sets that are used to imply the business rules for the usage of the content module in the final assets that are used to help the content creators understand what is the better context for the usage of specific content module. Let's say there could be a combination of modules or a specific place or a specific purpose for each content module should be used. For example, using the content module for the efficacy only when there is a content module for safety, or using the mechanism of action or the problem statement in the beginning of the content item, not in the end of the content item. So all of this information will explain and help MLR reviewers understand what the content module is going to look like in the final asset, and what it will and how it's going to be used in the final context, in order to understand whether this is the right way to talk about specific key message that is indicated in the metadata.
But am I right, or is it the right statement, or another fear of the MLR representatives when it comes to the impression that the MLR will approve the modules only till the end of the life? Yeah, so they are afraid still that the content that will be shown in the end on the final devices within the fields will have some discrepancies, even if they understand the shades of the meaning of the module during their approval.
Yes, I understand. This is a valid point, and indeed, it is very important to point out and understand that the channel agnostic modular approach does not override the MLR review. The goal of the approach is to aid and simplify the process. So, of course, the final asset that is created by the brand managers would still need to go through the review in order to make sure that there are no discrepancies, everything is compliant with the with the branded guidelines, and there are no major problems in the content item. But the approach that we are suggesting helps to identify the pieces of content that have been already approved, so that the MLR reviewers do not need to waste their time looking at the same thing twice. And also, the benefit of the approach is that the content modules that have been approved on the global level can be reused on the local level. And in such case, of course, the MLR reviewers would need to look at the final item in the content that is generated by the local market, but they would not need to approve the content module. So once the content module is approved in the system, it can be reused multiple times, and there is no need to approve this specific content piece in the final content item. But of course, the users would need to go and look at the content item in general.
The assembly itself in the end.
Yes,
yeah.
the assembly.
Okay, you touched a little bit this local reuse and repurpose flow, yeah? When we were entering the local markets with a modular approach and bringing some of the representatives, so must-win teams, toward the proof of concepts, we noticed another interesting thing, that the planning misalignment between the global and local representatives exists, actually. The global and local marketeers very often create their content in a silos. We met the cases when the globals share the readiness or the ready materials with the local markets, when the locals at their own turn already have something that they have produced recently, because the marketing cycle already starts and the field force activities are already in a week to move on. So generally speaking, how does Modular simplify the life of original marketeers in the end?
So this is a good question, and from the experience that we got working with multiple clients, we see that local marketeers are ready to adopt the content modules that are created by the global markets. And in order to do that, and that brings a lot of benefits for the local marketeers, because they do not need to recreate the content that is already available in the system, and they don't even need to do a lot of search in order to find the suitable local items, or items that can be reused on the local level. If previously the content localization would require localization of the entire content item, let's say the entire IVA that would have like 120 slides, and then only a couple of the slides would be reused basically on the local level. Here we allow the users to reuse only specific content items, content pieces that would be used and useful for their specific local needs. And in such case, once again, they do not need to have the approval process for that. They just reuse the content module that is already available in the system. And from our understand it is very important to allow the content users in local markets have the access to the library that is available at all times, that contains the information about all content modules that are available in the system, that has already been used and approved before. So the system allows searching, having access to the content modules that are available in the local, in the digital asset management library, with the help of the seamless integration between the content authoring solution, digital asset management system. The users have access to the number of filters that they can use in order to locate the suitable content modules. They can even preview what they look like, what they're going to be about. They can see the metadata that is assigned to the content modules, and they can add these content modules to their content items without any rework and without any modifications unless they are necessary. So local marketeers can benefit from the modular approach by reusing the already existing content. They already have access to everything that has been prepared before, and they do not need to localize and reuse the content that is not necessary for their specific needs. They can only locate specific content beats that already pre-approved and can be reused in their content. So that's pretty much it as for the local market.
Yeah, and that's pretty all of the challenges, the widespread that we've been faced with, or the most critical, I would say, that caused so many interactions, so much interactions between an alignment. So let me see whether we have any questions in the chat. So guys, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to post them here. We'll gladly answer them. In case if there are no questions, that's pretty all on our side. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, everybody. It was great to talk today, and I really hope it was a valid input. You got some inspiration, some valuable insights from our conversation, and we'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Maryna. Thank you, Anna. Really great presentation. Just for our audience, we are now having a quick break for 10 minutes. So you can do whatever you need to do. And then we are continuing with this great masterclass. Once again, thanks, Anna. Thanks, Maryna.
Thank you, everybody.